Dynasty. Dynasty channel, Dynasty convo, Dynasty running back. This man, Achane, is hated, doubted. Tons of people coming out of the woodwork left and right. No matter what he does, he misses time. Told you so. They line up. The haters line up. They start slinging all kinds of hate at him. Then he comes in, pops off. Cricket sounds. No one can be found. No one can be heard from. Everybody vanishes. They disappear. They vanish. He does bad again, or potentially has a toe injury that pops up. He's questionable, and people come out of the woodwork again. Then he comes back and does well. And then in week 17, delivers. And now we walk into the 2024 offseason and the playoffs still. We still have a chance for Achane to shine. And potentially, even if it's one game in the playoffs, as of the recording of this video, we still could have Achane go out and deliver. And if he delivers, then people will be hiding again. But if he doesn't deliver, or he does okay, and let's say the Dolphins lose game 1, they lose in the wild card weekend matchup, as I put on screen right here, to the Kansas City Chiefs, well, then I think he will be extremely undervalued in yearly league. But what about Dynasty? How many people are drafting this kid inside the top 15, 20 overall? I've heard different whispers from different people that are drafting in Dynasty startups, drafting in casual Dynasty startups, and some tougher shark type leagues where everybody kind of knows what time it is. And he's all over the map. He's all over the map. Some people, like me, who don't know what the general population is thinking or doing with their rankings or draft strategies, I would assume someone's taking him in the top 12 to 15. But I'm hearing whispers from people all over that are seriously having this guy fall, or hearing about it, or watching it, or whatever, into the 3.1, 2.08 to 3.2 territory in a Dynasty startup. Now, granted, this is before the NFL playoffs. Again, one more time to shine could change a whole lot, or one more time to throw a mediocre game onto the landscape. Everything is going to be volatile as we go through the remainder of the 2023/2024 NFL playoffs and we see him play. But I'll tell you right now, guys, this guy scored 11 touchdowns. 11 touchdowns in 2023, playing at running back 24 volume. Now, you could say, Smitty, this is a concern. He was running back 24. Why are you so excited about him? And my reply would be, imagine when he gets top 10 running back volume, Bob. Imagine when this guy who leads the entire league, no, not this year. Of course he leads it this year, or in 2023 last year. Of course he led the league in yards per carry with 7.8. But the graph you're looking at is the in the history of the NFL. These are the top yards per carry averages for a player over 100 carries. 6.1, 5.9, 5.9, 5.8, 5.6, 5.5. This man is number one in the National Football League historically in yards per carry over 100 carries. This man's a monster. This man's a myth. This man's a growing legend. This man's a player people hate. He's a guy that produced 800 yards, eight touchdowns on 7.8 yards per pop, 27 receptions, 193 yardage wise through the air with 3 tutties, 11 total touchdowns. This is a man that I believe in 2024, and this is a Dynasty show here, but we're talking about his first year out of the gate in 2024, coming off of his rookie year, 1,100 rushing yards, 6.5 a pop, 10 rushing touchdowns, 55 receptions, 425 receiving, and 4 to 6 touchdowns. We're talking about a 14 to 16 touchdown monster. His name's Achane. The Fantasy Football Show Dynasty Edition begins right now.
Live from the FantasyFootballShow.com studios. It's the Fantasy Football Show. Live! Monday through Friday, 8 p.m. Eastern. Smitty is also live whenever news breaks.
Live on the main channel whenever news breaks. This is the Dynasty channel, and if you're not, if you don't know what that means, make sure you subscribe to this and don't just assume you're sitting on the other channel. Now, I don't have this channel monetized yet. We're doing a video pretty much every single day. If anybody is wanting to drop something at people that request, hey, how do I, if I can't super chat, what do I do? There's Venmo if anybody wanted to Venmo. I don't really want to. I mean, I'm not trying to say anybody should be doing this or, you know, never expected, always appreciated. But somebody usually asks, and so there it is. If anybody wants to, while we're waiting for monetization, and in that, you need to watch the videos. Go watch the videos on this Dynasty channel. Get the watch time up. Within a week or two, we should be monetized. 2023 stats. Look at the stats. And this is a number that, and appreciate everybody here. This is a live show, by the way. Peanut Butter and Waivers first in the building. Travis Rose second in the building. Matt O in the house. James Lancaster in the building. G Money's in the house. Jamie Carey, appreciate you. Golf in the building. Sandu's in the house. Superfish is in the building. Appreciate you all. File on in. Hit that like button. Mario, appreciate you being here, pal. Phone lines will be open in a second. I mean, I suppose you could call in and wait on hold if you want to, but here's what I want to, the message I want to deliver among a few other messages, but the main message would be this. You could look at this two ways. You could look at this as a player that walks into a potential crowded backfield again next year, but one that, in my opinion, proved to be just fine in terms of being crowded. There's no concern. His number one game for the year, the 51-point performance, depending on your scoring, was not only, you know, the number one on his team, it was the number one running back performance, and I believe, I don't know if it was the number one fantasy football overall scoring performance. It depends on your scoring, so let's just keep it to running backs and keep it simple. There was no running back that had a single bigger game in 2023 this past season than Devon Achane. 51 point something points depending on your scoring. No running back, not Christian McCaffrey. Nobody had a single game higher scoring than Devon Achane. He did it when Raheem Mostert was on the field. He did it, yes, you could say against Denver, whatever. He did it with Achane. Achane did it with Achane and Mostert in the lineup. And I know that's not what everyone wants to hear, that, oh, well, Mostert and Achane will again share the backfield next year. But think about it from this perspective. Raheem Mostert's 32 years old in 2024. He'll be 32 years old. He's got a huge injury risk. Comes with a lot of injury risk baggage. And the workload he got will certainly exploit and bring that out, that concern out. Now, 1 year he did it. You know, he did get banged up. You know, so did Achane, so did pretty much everyone. But my point being that he was able to do what he did because his mileage is kind of sporadic and spread out, and you could say low and to some degree. The guy's had trouble staying healthy. He's 32 years old. The body breaks down at 32 in a way it doesn't matter about the mileage. Like, to do what he did at 31, 30, 31, that's possible with low mileage. At 32 years old, your body doesn't respond the same no matter what mileage you had. And so the odds of Mostert staying healthy and playing elite football for even, let's call it 12 games, is slim to none. And his presence alone, especially if he finishes the year healthy, Mostert, through the playoffs, and again, Miami could get knocked out in round one, so there might be just one game left in terms of that. If this man, Raheem Mostert, is healthy, I believe that you will have these two running backs as the 1-2 punch walking into 2024, and that's actually quietly a fantastic situation because you have an older player that's 32 years old, that's the only thing standing in the way of Achane, and even if, let's say, somehow, some way, a miracle happens and Mostert stays healthy all year, this backfield can suffice because you only need 10 to 12 carries for Achane. And Mostert being older, they will scale him back from time to time. Even if he stayed healthy, Achane could be a top 5 to 10 running back. That would be the worst case scenario of the two scenarios. The other scenario is that, you know, knock on wood, not wishing injury upon anybody, but Mostert's probably not staying healthy or playing at the same level. And if you need a little kick in the rear end to be reminded how quickly things change when you think, oh, this is the way it's going. Everybody told me this is the way it was going to go. Now it feels like it's going that direction, and then it switches back. Think of Montgomery. How many people came into our live streams and talked mad trash about our hyping? And when I say our, I mean you, me, everybody, the channel, obviously, because I was focused on Gibbs probably more than any channel you could find. That's just plain and simple. But remember everybody that came in when Monty was scoring all those touchdowns? Monty looked fantastic, and everybody said, this is all done. This is all told. The story's told. The picture is painted. Gibbs was a waste of a pick. Warned you that it was going to be Monty. Monty was the better value. We said patience, young Padawan. We said patience, that the lion will rise. And Gibbs, this lion, in name of team and in name spirit wise, this lion rose up from the abyss and became the running back that we know he's going to continue to be from here on out. And this backfield became Gibbs's backfield. I feel the same way about Achane. I think Achane will take over this backfield. He will rise, and at some point Mostert's going to relinquish a lot of carries. Even if in the beginning of the year Mostert starts off well again, at some point this whole vibe of, oh, he knew it, Mostert's not going to go away by mid-season. This is the man getting the carries. Just like Gibbs is now at the forefront of the Lions offense, this man, this speedster, this is speed demon, he's a young kid. He's not 32 years old. He's not facing all of the potential injury risks that come with an aging running back at 32 years of age. And everybody can say knee injuries, this, knee injuries, that. Every single one of you, me, every single player would have faced the same, if not worse, potentially outcome on that hit to the knee. Everybody's saying that, oh, he's injury prone. Especially when he came back from the knee injury. And somebody did a suplex right on his knee, and everyone's like, oh, I knew he'd be getting hurt again. Everyone and their mother would have sat out with that. These are not injuries, soft tissue type situation that should have you really concerned that it's him, it's his body, it's his breakdown. Think of Christian Watson as a potential lingering of injuries. Can't figure it out. Why can't he stay healthy versus Breece Hall tore his ACL, and it wasn't his fault. This man's knee injury wasn't his fault. The re-injury, the game he came back, suplex to the knee, wasn't his fault. This is not an injury-prone player. And everyone could say what they want about Tank Dell's size and he got injured. That injury was not because of his size. This injury wasn't because of his size. It's crazy to me. Achane is rising. Achane is the man. Achane to Saturn. And if you weren't here for the earlier show, Achane cracked the Saturn board, baby. He is the next Saturn man up. Saturn man number 5.
The Saturn men.
One small step for man, one giant leap for Saturn.
Spaceman. Spaceman.
I am repeating myself to a degree, Brian. Yes, there was the other show, but this is going to be Dynasty focused. Okay, so I did a little intro. I've only repeated myself, if you will, for roughly 13 minutes, but with some Dynasty spin to it. Now, from a Dynasty perspective, we enter a territory of conversation on this live stream that we didn't on the main channel, where I talked about Achane. If you haven't followed me in the way that I do this type of thing on the main channel versus the Dynasty channel, is sometimes I'll go on the same topic on the Dynasty channel the night of the 8 p.m. show's topic, because I think it's an amazing, in my opinion, as if I was a regular viewer of my channel, I think, and you can tell me if I'm wrong, I think it'd be kind of exciting to know, damn, we're going to get maybe a Dynasty conversation on this topic tonight. And I think that gives you some sort of like rhythm of what to expect content-wise. So I do try and do that. I do try. It's not about repeating myself. It's not about Brian coming on here, and I don't think you meant that in a bad way, but it's not about me coming on here and saying, hey, everything I just said, I'm going to put it on the Dynasty channel. It's going to be from a Dynasty spin. So the conversation we're about to have right now is very different than the conversation we had on the main channel, because now we're asking ourselves, is this man above CMC? Is this man above other players that are a little bit older, or where do we rank him amongst wide receivers in Dynasty? Because Dynasty wide receivers have longer shelf life. So you're talking about JJ and Jamar Chase. Now Hill's no longer in the conversation of getting drafted above Achane. McCaffrey's not in the conversation. Maybe the conversation depending on your win now mentality, but maybe you would draft McCaffrey over Achane to win now, to maybe, if you believed he'd have one more year left, dominate for 2 years, build your team in a way that it doesn't hurt you to lose McCaffrey and have the wheels fall off because you're such a good, astute, find the next Achane, find the next Kyron, find the next Nico Collins type of drafter and trader and free agent maker. So no wrong way to build a Dynasty team. Even drafting redraft in Dynasty is not crazy if you are super good at accumulating free agent and trade talent and getting a couple guys, in the middle rounds or whatever. It's not even crazy. It's not even crazy to go after a very now McCaffrey, Tyreek Hill type of team. It's not. And I've got story after story for you of where Dynasty leagues that I've joined with followers. You'd think they want to, I'm not trying to say being in a league with me is the most amazing thing in the world. Sometimes I'm so busy, I'm not as active in the league as you might think I would be. But people love to play in it. Smitty, I want to play in a league with you. If we get somebody that bails on a league, I can fill it in about 4 seconds. I just put a post on Instagram or in a chat group and say, hey, who wants this team? You're going to take over a Dynasty team. It's okay. I'll do it. I'll take it. People take it in a second. But we've had 50% minimum turnover rate on leagues falling apart and getting tired of filling spots because people will trade away their future value and then quit the league the next year, or trade away their future value, all their draft picks, and quit 2 years from now. We've had at least a 50%, I'd say, let's call it 10, 12 leagues I've created in my 5 years on YouTube. 10 to 12 Dynasty leagues. I don't do them anymore because I had a lot more time available when I first started this channel, and I was trying to connect. In not saying I don't connect with you guys in amazing ways now. I got an open phone line. But when I first started the channel, this was my way of trying to really build grassroots from the ground up with the channel. And we started about 10 to 12 Dynasty leagues. 50% of them collapsed within 2.5 years because we got tired of filling spots mid-season. 2-3 people quit the first year after they traded away. Nothing wrong with building for the now. My question to you is, and put Achane's name in the chat and then put a number. Where is this man running back wise in 2024 redraft? Say Achane, running back 2. Achane, running back 5. Achane, running back 7. I would love to know your vote. I'll probably do a little ranking on the board here. And we did this the other night, so I don't know that we need to do all the running backs, but I'm just curious where you guys value Achane from a running back perspective. If you didn't know, he's a Saturn man.
The Saturn Men.
One small step for man, one giant leap for Saturn.
So put your vote in the chat. Let's go. You don't have any concerns about his health? No, Benji. I don't have concerns. Go rewatch the video. I literally, for no offense, Benji, but I literally just spent about 18 minutes talking about it. Do I have concerns about his health? No, I don't, Benji. I don't. Everybody else is telling you to be concerned about his health, but I don't have concerns about his health. But I appreciate the comment. Where does Marvin Harrison go in Dynasty and in redraft? In redraft, good God, I mean, he could go in the 3rd round. He could I see someone take Marvin Harrison Jr. in the 2nd round? I could in our community. I don't think you should be. I think you should be packaging in a lot more risk than that, or slow start, etc. But I think I'll probably say like 3rd round's great in redraft. In Dynasty, you're not crazy to take Marvin Harrison Jr. in the bottom of round 1. You know, a 12-13 turn pick would be fantastic. Hit that thumb up button on your way in the door, people. Or if you're sitting here and you haven't yet, please punch the thumb up button. And dial in if you want to talk about this topic. Phone lines are open. Benji, you don't have to apologize, bro. I'm just letting you know that, no, I'm not. I mean, I just went on a rampage about it. So that's not your fault. You just tuned in. But go rewatch the beginning after this show's over. I'm not worried about his health. As I explained about Breece Hall, the injuries to Achane are no different than the injury to Breece Hall. The injuries to Christian Watson are different. That guy can't stay healthy, and he's got to figure out how to stay healthy. De'Von Achane's smaller. It doesn't concern me. I don't have concerns about him being injured. There have been running backs his size before. You know, we can't just say, oh, those are anomalies. There have been plenty of running backs that have been elite at his size. It's not like he's some frail little guy. He's out there steamrolling people. You know, he's very, very solid. We got second night in a row, Brogan. Brogan, my guy, you're live. What's up, Brogan? Brogan's Heroes.
How are you?
What's up? What do you got for me today?
Dude, I think I want to speak to the chat about their Achane troubles, because as a Gibbs owner, I had experienced this little bit of inactivity from the monster, the Saturn Man, as Gibbs. Just keep this phrase in your mind, guys. Achane is inevitable. He is inevitable. Trust me. He's going to go off, and when he does, everyone's gonna be silent. Everyone's gonna be.
I feel like you're just repeating everything I say, bro.
Well, why not? I just want to help you, man.
I know, but it's like it's okay. Brogan, you're becoming a graveyard shift favorite. Like, I think everybody's excited. When Brogan calls and they're like, what are we gonna get this time? I keep going. I'm sorry. Go ahead. Say it all again. Read the script out.
I gotta say, it's just as a Gibbs owner from a dynasty perspective, man. I drafted him in like the second round when around like the 5th pick in the second round of the initial startup draft, man. And I swear I was being gaslit for like the first month, because I would see him get like 6 yards a carry, and then they're like, you know what? Let's give the Achilles tearing, ACL tearing, like hospital carries to Monty. Let's just do that. And I just freaked out.
So you're talking about you're talking about Gibbs at the current moment, right?
Yeah, but I'm kind of comparing him into like the
their stories are very similar. Like Achane, like what I don't know if you saw the beginning of the show, but Mostert is going to feel a lot like Monty felt at the beginning of this year for Gibbs. Yeah. Mostert will feel that way for Achane owners potentially at the beginning of next year. But I do believe at 32 years of age, with his injury history, which is through the roof. Like, there was talk about him retiring because of his injury history at one point coming out of San Francisco. And San Francisco fans were really bad to him. Like, he got like death threats and all that when he got injured.
That he can put up, I respect the fact that Mozart could put up such impressive numbers for someone at his age, like in this league currently. But I think, like Derrick Henry and, eventually, unfortunately, like McCaffrey, it's going to be rough. It's going to be rough. But and I think Achane is going to eventually take over that role.
Yeah,
eventually.
He is.
Like I said, he's inevitable.
And I don't even know. Like, I like the term inevitable, and I do believe that that is a good depiction of it. But I also feel like he's already here. Like, as much as that phrase would have been something I would have said, that's going to catch on, and we use it all season. The part that's so funny to me is he's here. He's standing right in front of everybody, and it's already in motion, is the way I guess I would word it. Is like Achane's already in motion. No one seems to want to acknowledge it on any sort of grand scale. And I think people are going to get on board really quickly, but what's going to determine everything, bro? Whether this goes back in the direction of people just coming out of the woodwork, I told you he's going to be a bust, he's not going to stay, is going to be based on this wild card weekend performance against the Kansas City Chiefs, even if they lose the game, if he doesn't do a whole lot, there will be a lot of remnants of Achane hating, and it will help us all out. We'll hit home runs. I'm actually in some way hoping that happens. But if he goes on a tear, I'll be happy about it. I'll feel vindicated. I'll feel very, very excited about all the shares that I already have in Dynasty, and I won't worry so much about redraft, whatever. And I'll just be happy enough it's happening. I won't be, oh man, we didn't like it. There's parts good and bad to both. But if he goes out and has at least like a 100-yard touchdown type of game, I believe the Achane haters will stay away. The cricket sounds will commence. And we'll have a lot more hype, but there will still be a lot of people that are going to feed into the narratives that are, in my opinion, they're not warranted at all, and that's good. Yeah. We're going to have enough hate. It's just I guess the way I'd put it is if he has a solid game or better, and let's say it's one. If he had 4 games, let's say the Patriots that just. For craps and giggles, bro. Let's say they win this game, they win the next game, they win the next game. It's probably not going to happen, but let's just say it happened. He played 3. Let's just say he plays 3 games. 3 games, and he has 150 yards and a touchdown in one. He has 85 yards and a touchdown in the other. He has no touchdowns, but 155 total yards or something. Just a magnificent little string of 3 games. I think the doubters will be in the 5 to 10% range. If he has one 100-yard game and a touchdown and the Dolphins lose the first game, I think you're going to have about 10 to 20% of doubters. If he has a bad game
that sounds about right.
And the Miami Dolphins get bumped out and he finishes the year on a bad note or a mediocre note, you'll have 30%, maybe 35, maybe 40% of doubters, at least in terms of like visibly seeing them, hearing them chirping. It's going to feel like that ratio. And that's how fickle the human population is. That's how fickle we are as a people, that we're willing to let one, just like my Penix Jr. Hold on one second. Just like my Penix Jr. All this Penix Jr. hate. As a Michigan man, I watched the whole game of Michael Penix Jr. And I'll say this: he was not the issue that night. At that game, he didn't even overthrow. He didn't even overthrow his receivers. I'm sorry.
Grit, I'll say he played with some Matthew Stafford grit. Like he was just battered, bruised. He kept getting up. He kept going at it. He just did not give up. Like to a delusional, like, but in a good way. Like to a delusional aspect. And like Michael Penix Jr. man, like I have no doubts about him. Like, I hope he falls to Detroit. Like, that's how excited I am about
Adunze already spoke out and said that Michael Penix Jr. did not overthrow him on that wide open touchdown strike. He ran the wrong route, and he says, I ran the wrong route. The ball was placed exactly where it needed to be, and just the blame goes all on Penix Jr. So anyways, my whole point is everybody's so fickle that one performance wiped out 4,600 yards and 35 touchdowns. That one performance in everybody's mind wiped out the fact that he was in the Heisman race for a reason. The fact that he had a bad game in that game and got beat up. Didn't get like injured to where they checked him out, of course, just to make sure, but he went right back in. He showed grit, showed tenacity. They put him back out there. He left not injured, like in terms of long-term, any sort of, and everyone's like, he's already injury prone. Like, he just was getting beat up. Like, what would anybody do if they're getting hit like that? That has nothing to do with his injury history. If he's an injury prone player you're so worried about out there, Bob, and he's getting hammered like that, why wasn't he hurt? Didn't that game make you feel better about his injury history? The fact that he could get pummeled like that and him not be in any sort of long-term risk of anything like that, that's the funniest thing to me. And then number 2, it's like you're gonna let one game influence in these Monday morning couch analysts out there that come out of the woodwork and start saying that this guy's inaccurate. He got figured out and all that, when all year long everyone's touting his accuracy, how amazing how amazing his touch is, and now all of a sudden Penix Jr. is an inaccurate quarterback because he played the toughest defense that made everyone, as Ray G said, look mediocre all year. Michigan's tough. Michigan's tough, and his receivers did not help him. But anyway, likening that to this situation, it feels to me like people are going to be fickle in both a good or a bad way, depending on his performance in the playoffs.
Yeah.
So that's all I'm going to say. All right, anything else, bro?
Yeah. No, dude, you kind of took the words right out of right out of the mouth, man. You know, I think Achane has some good talent, you know, and I think just you know, unlike Gibbs, the year didn't eventually go his way, and I think this next year, I think it will go his way, and I think, you know,
Gibbs,
like
it went his way this year.
Yeah, no, like I just said, eventually, it will eventually go Achane's way this year. Like it eventually went Gibbs' way this year. Like, I mean, you I'm sorry, I think that's better,
I hear what you're saying. The thing is, the message I'm telling, though, is a little like I hear you're saying words like inevitable. I'm saying it's people are blind. It's sitting right in front of your face. He's doing it. But again, could I see a world where Monty, as I mapped out earlier in this show and told you, could I see a world where people are like, told you Mostert ain't going away, and they have the conviction, and the stats might support it too, to be like, you guys are all fools, and all of the Achane owners are gonna just be sitting there like this, just like the Gibbs owners were, waiting for this Monty hype to die down. Now where's Monty? I'm not saying Monty can't go out in this playoff game and drop freaking 100 yards and 2 touchdowns. He's still very capable, and this offense can produce 2 running backs. I'm not saying Monty's trash. I'm just saying no one in their right minds questioning who the top back is in Detroit now. Nobody.
Yeah,
and that's by midseason we'll easily have that under control as well in this situation. But hey, this is the riskiest Saturn man that I have. No, JD5 is probably the riskiest one, but this is a risky Saturn man, because when you look at the Saturn man, hold on 1 second, don't say anything yet.
The Saturn Men.
One small step for man, one giant leap for Saturn.
When you look at this list right here, Kyren, lock. Bijan, lock. Hall, lock. JD5, Achane, these are the volatile players on the Saturn list so far, because the Saturn is kind of more secure, more for sure. You could load your whole team up with Saturn men and you wouldn't lose a league, whereas a Moon men are not supposed to all be on one team. There are a lot of high risk, high reward plays on there. That's where you're going to find the Tank Dell, and that's where you're going to get the Christian Watson. That's going to be the Moon Man. I'm just letting everybody know right now. I'm gonna beat a dead horse on this so that people don't come back to me mid-season go, oh, the Moon Man looked pretty bad. It's probably going to be hopefully a 65% land rate on the Moon Men. No one's expecting the Moon Men to be now. The Saturn Men better be higher than that, because they're full of more bigger, stronger, more secure players. But at the same time, injuries can take out. We could get hit with 2 or 3 injuries on a list of 6 guys and have half of them get knocked out on injuries that we can't prevent. But anyway, all right. Hey, Brogan, appreciate you calling in, bro. We'll see you next show. Later. He's a good sport. What do we got here? Fields don't got the potential to be a top 5 real life QB. I think that's unfair, Sandu. I think we'll find out once he gets proper support. I think if you think Chicago supported him properly, I think that's not fair. Smitty nailed Swift. I needed that so badly this year, says Brianna. Yeah, I mean, look, Swift was solid. Swift stayed healthy. I know a lot of people question that, but Swift was very, very good. Could he have been even better? I was hoping he'd even be better, to be honest, but it's a tough situation. All right, JD5, a Saturn man. JD5, a Saturn man, if he lands on the Pats. I've had this conversation several times. I don't want to take him off the list because of the landing spot. Could I see myself moving him to off all the lists entirely? No, I don't. Even if he landed in New England, could I move him to a Moon Man spot and because I don't just move everybody around. Like for example, Penix Jr. I don't want to move. You'll probably see me move somebody on or off a Moon Man, Mars Man, or Saturn Man list. Maybe 1 or 2 players on the whole offseason per list might move on or off. Like, this is not a revolving door where we just get to throw a bunch of crap at the wall and then just keep hiding that we missed on it or something. At the same time, though, this is a revolving list. Like, it is and it isn't. Like, it isn't because I don't plan on putting stuff out there that's going to change in the offseason. Like an injury, if someone gets hurt, then we have to take them off. I'm not going to leave someone on the Moon Man list that tears their ACL in April and just keep cranking out content. Like, look, we're going to push them. We want to replace that person and get somebody drafting an extra man. You know, and at the same time, like Penix Jr., had he delivered an insane game, won a national championship, and vaulted into the top 10 overall prospects on draft day, which would have happened if he won a national championship, that I have no doubt. I don't care what anybody tells me. I know that. That's for 20 plus years of scouting and doing NFL draft content and covering the NFL. I can tell you right now, he won a national championship, had 4 touchdowns. Penix Jr. was already in the Heisman race. He was already a spotlight guy. Had he done that, he would have been a top 10 pick. He still could be a top 10 pick. Everyone wants to throw shade at him. I'm not saying he will. It's very, very volatile, because if he exits this number 16 overall pick, none of these teams need QBs. So if he slips past here and falls just a little too far, he does fall to round 2. That's the nature of the NFL draft and supply and demand, and how guys can fall and tumble through a draft if they get through a certain like roadblock or a potential benchmark. But Penix Jr. may not be a Moon Man as much as he is a midseason monster. So that's the Revenge Tour list. Let's show that real quick. So our first Revenge Tour player, and this won't change. There's nobody more fitting for the Revenge Tour than Bijan Robinson. We had Breece Hall on this list last year, and Breece Hall absolutely crushed. So our Revenge Tour list starts off with Bijan. I couldn't think of a better candidate.
It's time for some revenge, baby. Revenge tour, revenge tour. Revenge tour, revenge tour.
That's our Revenge Tour list. I didn't mean to hit that, but I wanted to show it since I accidentally hit it. Mid-season monsters. I think we'll probably have Penix Jr. I could still keep him on the Moon Man list. It just depends on... I want to keep the list as short as possible. And like I said, I'm not bouncing people on and off. But when something significant happens and it makes sense to move a spot open and put them on a different list, the mid-season monster list is basically a Moon Man that might be Moon Man material after week 1. It could be week 4. It could be week 3. It doesn't have to be exactly mid-season. But I can't think of a better mid-season monster than Penix Jr. So he'll probably be the lead candidate for the mid-season monsters. That may open up a Moon Man spot just so we don't clog up a spot for somebody that's going to take till mid-season. That's why that list was developed. Basically, whenever I feel like the stars aren't going to align for them to do it in week 1, I don't want them on the Moon Man list. I want them on the mid-season monster list because that makes the most sense. Alvin Kamara was a mid-season monster. Breece Hall was a mid-season monster. We absolutely crushed that. We crushed it. In fact, look at our mid-season monster list. This is unbelievable. Like, we missed on Herbert and Roschon last year. That is obvious. But JSN, Alvin Kamara, Breece Hall, Zay Flowers, I would say our mid-season monster list was phenomenal in 2023. And so I can't think of a better player, given the circumstances of Penix Jr. not delivering the kind of stats he probably needed to be inside the top 10 overall on draft day. Penix Jr. to the moon for me as a midseason monster, and that's the difference between a Moon Man and a midseason monster. So that's probably where you'll find him. Now, I hit this button on accident.
The Moon Man dropping loads
on the show today. I hit this on the show today. Again, Probably going to see Penix Jr.
Space Monsters.
Let's see here. Where's Penix Jr.? We'll probably see Penix Jr. not be on this list if we're going to put him on the midseason monster list.
The Moon Men, dropping loads in outer space.
And this will be an official drop here soon. So you guys are getting a little early crack at that. Why is Tank Dell not a Mars man? Why is he not a Saturn man? Because he comes with some risk that really makes him more fitting to be a more high risk, high reward play versus a locked solid. You know what I mean? Like, you come off an injury, you've got Nico playing well. There's reasons to kind of like him more in the Moon Man variety, bigger swing. So yeah, you'll see that later. Tank Dell, absolute monster. Yeah, in the remember the stack above all stacks? We may move that. That was Burrow and Chase. We may have some sort of stack of all stacks be Stroud, Nico, and Tank Dell, because that's like the true triple stack, the triple pancake stack. And if I could actually find that here, where's my stack above all stacks? I got that somewhere here. I'll have to find it. So this is what was the stack of all stacks.
The stack above all stacks. It's time to drop the pancake emojis in the live
Like,
chat.
really, I still love this stack, by the way. I don't know that we'll change it yet, but I kind of feel like Stroud, Nico, and Dell will be a fun little... I mean, it truly is the best triple stack, pancake stack that you could find in fantasy. So we'll probably mess with that too. But any other phone calls before we head out of here? I just want to come on here and do a quick Achane live stream on the Dynasty channel. Make sure you guys watch the other videos, get the watch time up so we can monetize the channel as fast as possible. And that helps when you guys watch the videos. Neighbors, early Moon Man. Hey Sandu, keep tabs on the Moon Man, Mars Man, and Saturn Man list, because you know your boy Smitty loves rookies, and I would not be surprised if we had at least 2 rookie wide receivers, at least 1 rookie running back, 2, well, maybe 2, even including Penix being on the midseason monster list. You might see another quarterback on the Moon Man list while JD5 remains on the Saturn Man list. So we might have 3 rookie quarterbacks spread out amongst the Saturn, Mars, Moon, and midseason monster list. So there's 4 lists, Tua Hill stack still says Nico 18 points from a game from week 9 on. I mean, Nico needs to be talked about. This is where you say adjust and adapt. I'm not saying Nico is the better receiver over Tank Dell, but I think you can't balk at the idea that this needs to be discussed, and we kind of need to see one more game, right? Because that's gonna, if he goes out and has 150 yards and a touchdown, Nico's gonna be everybody's darling Houston Texan wide receiver next year, not Tank Dell. I'm not saying that will be right or wrong, but definitely need to take advantage of that. Have I gone over the bold predictions? We talk about them all the time. I mean, I don't want to waste a whole show going over last season. We talk about it whenever they come up. I've pretty much gone over every single player in one way or another through the last week or 2 of live streams. So it would be just a waste of content to be like, let's go review. I hate some of that content where, this is what I do. This is part of my review, is I say, here's the revenge tour. That was last year. This year. Last year. I mean, we go over it all the time. But, yeah, I think some of the worst content, in my opinion, out there is let's give the fantasy awards. Who wants to watch a freaking video on, let's do the fantasy awards for 2023? Who is your favorite fantasy player that helped you last season? Let's waste an hour and a half of a show where we could be prepping you for 2024. The reason I show that stuff when I need to is to, show the significance of the list, or talk about, hey, we hit on this. We had some good intentions with Roshan and with Herbert, but the situation hampered it. And I don't think we're wrong necessarily about Roschon. But rookie running back rankings will be coming up soon, so hang tight for that. All right, guys, appreciate you all. No more phone calls, I take it, so I'm out of here. Hit that like button on the way out the door. Make sure you leave a comment on the Dynasty channel on this video. I'll try and get back to all the comments I see tonight. And here's to 2024. This monster on screen, Devon Achane, is going to explode. And all these people that are coming out of the woodwork even now are going to vanish. Cricket sounds everywhere. I mean, let's roll. Let's roll. Shots fired to... I mean, I don't know. I don't know who's doing it. I'm not trying to say any content creators dropping these fantasy award shows. I don't even know. I don't have time to watch anybody else. So that wasn't a dig at any particular person. I'm just saying, like, I see them all over. They're stupid shows to me. Like, last thing in the world I want to do is sit here and talk about everything we already know. Hey, everybody, I think Kyron. Let's give, like we gave Kyron his round of applause as we talk about him exploding in 2024. You know what I'm saying? Like, Kyron Williams is going to explode, and we will and have celebrated what he did for us, but I'm not going to do an hour and a half award show. I'd rather just press buttons like this.
He's Kyron. He's 7 feet tall, and he knows how to handle a ball. He's Kyron, he can take frowns and turn them upside down with his touchdowns.
Hi, my name is Bijan Robinson. I like long walks on the beach.
And he likes scoring touchdowns, and I get ready for it. Get ready for it. Bijan Robinson. And we talked about this on the video before this here on the Dynasty channel. So if you're watching this video right now, I need watch time hours on my channel. We need to get monetized. So go watch the previous video on Bijan. That video is going to explain the exact same thing here, but with Bijan. We went over his 2023 stats. He was running back 9. Phenomenal, given he was misused as pretty much the backup goal line back, probably third string goal line back, to be honest. And he had 1,463 total rushing receiving yards, 8 touchdowns, running back 9, and they used him at about 10% capacity, it felt like. Imagine what he does. 2024, there's his stats right there. My projections, 1352, 5.2. And we kind of came to this together as a group, but I kind of massaged the numbers to about right where I feel like 1,400 yards. I could even put it at 1,400. Let's put it at 1,400. Let's fix this. Make it a nice round number. 1,400 yards, 5.2 yards per carry, which I think is just fine. 12 touchdowns, 75 receptions, 650 receiving, and 5 to 6 touchdowns. This guy's going to score on upwards of 16, 17, 18, 19 total touchdowns. Pull in 75 receptions. Have over 2,000 yards. This would put him well over 2,000 total yards. He's an absolute monster. Go watch that video. That video's up. If you just came late to this one, watch this one, which addresses all the injury concerns, addresses everything that I'm thinking or someone else might be thinking that I disagree with or that I agree with about Achane for 2024 and beyond, because this is the Dynasty channel. I'll see you all later. Thank you, Birdman. Thank you. Appreciate you. DeBalt to the moon. Matt O to the moon. DeBalt, appreciate you. Benji. See you, Benji. Benji, I wasn't mad at you, by the way. That's just my resting face. Benji to the moon. Benji stock is up. Go get your Benji stock. It's up. DeBalt, appreciate you. Travis Rowe, thank you for moderating. Thank you, DeBalt, our newest moderator. Huffman, appreciate you. Ricky C, appreciate you. Thomas, thanks for being here. DeWolf, appreciate you being here, bro. Superfish in the building, like always. Carrie, appreciate you, Carrie. Brian, we don't see Brian much. Brian, good to see you, pal. Matt, Romario, appreciate you, bro. Golf, we'll see you later, bro. Appreciate you, Golf. Monday through Friday on the main channel, The Fantasy Football Show. Guys, if you didn't know, I've got a main channel. You're watching the Dynasty right now. Whichever channel you're on, if you scroll to the bottom, you'll see all my channels right there. So if you're ever lost, where am I at? I need to get to the Dynasty channel. You're on the main channel, scroll to the bottom of the main homepage of my YouTube channel. At the bottom, you'll see the channel list. And if you type it in, you can type it in. But I mean, anybody on an app, you just type in Dynasty Fantasy Football. You just type in The Fantasy Football Show. You're watching the Dynasty Fantasy Football. Later.